Hi, I'm Julie from Urban Yogis, here with some quick tips on how to keep a regular yoga practice going. It's not uncommon for people to fall in and out of their yoga practice over the course of years, and we get asked a lot about tips on keeping the regularity of a practice going. So today we've got a few quick tips and tricks on how to build a regular yoga practice. The first tip is to build a social life around your yoga practice. So that means either making friends at your yoga studio or recruiting friends who are already part of your social circle to start joining you for your yoga practice. So that means you start making plans with each other to see each other at the yoga studio. So maybe you go for a class on a Wednesday night and then head out for a quick bite after, and you start doing that a couple times a week. And what you'll notice is that it becomes a lot easier to fit your yoga practice into your social schedule. So you're not going to the studio just for yoga, but you're going to the studio to practice, to see friends, and then who knows, see where the night takes you after that. And that's actually how I started practicing on a regular basis. I started making friends at the studio that I was practicing at, and then I just started to look forward more and more to going to the studio to see my friends, to practice next to them, and it really supported my practice and my passion for the practice, because you start to engage also in conversations about the practice and about how it starts to improve your life and starts to seep into other aspects of your life beyond just the yoga studio. The second tip is keeping it simple. So if you don't have time to get to the studio, and if you don't have time to practice for a full hour or an hour and a half, don't worry, just do what you can. So getting out of that mindset that your practice must be a full hour long. I like to say that a few sun salutations, maybe 10 minutes, whenever you can fit it into your day, is a really good way of keeping the practice going even when you can't spend that hour to travel to the studio or to even spend an hour practicing at home, right? So keep it simple, keep it short, and fit it in wherever you can. The third tip is to engage in some creativity in your practice. So your practice doesn't have to be vinyasa. It doesn't have to even be some of the classic postures of yoga. It doesn't have to be strung together in the way that we normally do. So some people say to me, I just don't know how to piece a yoga class together for myself. So we're talking about self-practice here. And you don't have to. So moving into that concept of feeling how your body wants to move rather than thinking that it has to do certain shapes and it has to do certain movements or very specific transitions in order for it to be yoga. So we bring in some of that creativity. We bring in some of that authenticity, right? Whenever you are moved to, get on your mat and just experiment, right? Where does your body want to do? What does your body want to do? Where does it want to move into? What shapes does it want to take? What spaces does it want to flow into? So again, keeping an open mind as to what a yoga practice is and what it can be. The fourth tip is This is to do with yoga retreats and the support and the practice that comes after the yoga retreat. So very common, suppose you are someone that finds difficulty in maintaining a regular practice and you decide to go on a yoga retreat to sort of kickstart the regularity of your practice, and then you find that you go back home after the yoga retreat and you're able to keep the practice going for a little while and then it sort of fizzles out. So if you're one of those people, a really great way to maintain your yoga practice after you've joined an intensive or after you've joined a retreat is, once again, staying connected to the people that you met during that retreat or that intensive. So if those people live in the same city, you can start to meet up with them and, again, make it part of your social life that you start going to classes together. If those people are not living in the same place, what you could do is start a Facebook group, stay in touch with the teacher that facilitated the retreat, and keep the communication going. Right? So some yoga schools or some yoga retreats, such as the Urban Yogis Circle, for example, we have our online academy classes. So after you have completed your retreat, you could check in and get some support by joining some of these online academy courses. So these might be live courses or these might be pre-recorded courses, but it's a way to stay connected to the same people that kept you motivated and that kept you going while you were on the retreat. And then finally, tip number 5 is just to remember that yoga doesn't only happen on your yoga mat. There is yoga out there in the world. If you are commuting to work, you could meditate on your commute. You could engage in some breathing practices. And also how you interact with the people around you, with the people who are the most familiar with you, and to complete strangers is also how you can keep your yoga practice going, your practice of mindfulness. You can take walks in nature. You can even go for a run and make that a mindful practice. And in doing so, you're able to maintain your connection to the real practice of yoga. So go ahead, give that a shot, and let us know how it goes.